Welcome to the Trade Talks podcast where we discuss everything related to international trade. My name is Tayo Kadri and I'm going to be anchoring today's episode of the show. With me, I have Dr. Bambile Ayubo, who is also known as the export doctor. So we'll be diving into a few questions or a couple of questions related to international trade. And I'm sure that you had some questions that are related to this lingering on your mind for quite some time. And I hope that you have answers to those questions in today's episode of the podcast. So moving on, what are the biggest challenges in managing cross-border logistics and how can they be overcome?
When you talk about cross-border logistics, it will be good to be specific, and the reason is because you can move by rail, you can move by road, you can move by air, you can move by sea. So when you talk about cross-border logistics, it's good to situate it around which mode of shipment. In fact, you can move by pipeline if you are moving liquid products. So can you be more specific? Which mode of shipment are you looking at when you're talking about cross-border logistics?
Okay, I think we should concentrate on by sea.
By sea. Sea, cross-border logistics for sea is not the only challenge I see there. Mainly is freight charge, and the fact that if you live in a landlocked country, it will be difficult for you to be able to go by sea. So you might have to depend on another country. Like Niger now depend on Nigeria and I think Benin Republic to be able to ship stuff through Atlantic Ocean to different parts of the world. So that is the challenge that will likely. It's not the one that really have challenge, which I guess you probably also have in mind, is road. Road is a big particularly in Africa. In other parts of the world, road shipment, sometimes even when you move from one country to the other within the EU, you don't even know you are moving because there's no border, more or less. But for goods movement, not for human being. For human being, because some people might not be EU citizens, they still have to go through the border gate. But for road shipment is a big challenge. Road shipment is a big challenge because, for example, in West Africa, if I go to move now, I remember when I was doing a shipment from Nigeria to Cote d'Ivoire, you have to go through the border of Benin Republic, through the border of Togo, border of Benin Republic now, Nigerian side, border of Togo with Benin Republic, exit of Benin Republic with entering to Togo, border of Ghana, entering to Ghana, exit Benin Republic, border of Cote d'Ivoire. Now, each of those border you're crossing have all their issues. Documentation issue, fees you have to pay, even though some of those fees are supposed to be paid because you're supposed to be, it's supposed to be within ECOWAS. So moving by road can be very, very challenging because of the border posts and of course because of corruption at the borders within the African continent. So if you are going to be doing shipment within that space, what is critical that you must do is to ensure that you are working with a freight forwarder that know the route. That means a freight forwarder that have a truck that is registered, known by the custom for moving across that route, paying the requisite fees and having the right documentation so that when he leave Nigeria, he's sure that he will get to the destination with minimal issue on the road because they are used to that road. So engaging an experienced freight forwarder will be able to help to solve that problem. But if I'm doing by air, by air is a lot easier. By sea is a lot easier because you are going to move from point A to point B. You're not going to cross those borders. But if you are going by road, you're going to cross those borders.
So the major challenge is borders.
Is the borders, the corruption at the border, documentation at the border, clearing at the border, and a lot of issues at the border are the major challenge that people face when you're crossing, when you're doing cross-border shipment, particularly if you're going by road. And that's peculiar to Africa, like I said, for EU and some other countries that have been able to create, because, and that's the challenge in Africa, because we've not solved this problem of, we don't see ourselves as being one in Africa. Maybe because we have different currency, different language, different things. It's really affecting us because, and it's like we are indirectly hindering trade among ourselves because when you put those bottlenecks in place, even when the Oga at the top, otherwise called the president, already is a signatory to an agreement. In West Africa, the people at the border sometimes will just give you unnecessary issues because you need to pay. Sometimes you're not supposed to pay duty, they will insist you have to pay those duty. That is it. So what AFCFTA has done now is to create a mechanism where driver from that point can report and then it can go to AFCFTA office in Ghana, from there to the head presidency of that country or to the AFCFTA coordinating office of that country and down back to the border post. So that is being solved because it's a problem really that is a challenge for within the African context. So
that always take time.
It's going to take time. But it's still not better to resolve than to come back to Nigeria or not allow you to enter. So you see better, it still bother you. It will take time, no doubt, but it's still better. But if I'm going by road, by sea, no issue. Because it's going to leave, if I'm leaving from Nigeria to Ghana, it's going to leave from Nigeria, it's going to get to Accra or Porto Novo or any port in Africa, and it's going to land in that port, and I'm going to only clear in that port. I'm not going to be clearing at different point the way I would have done if I'm doing if I'm going by road. Yeah.
Can you shed some light on what incoterms are and how important they are to international trade?
You know, this is a very important question. And the reason is because there is this challenge of understanding among a lot of traders about incoterms. Let me give you an example. You see, someone will say, I'm shipping and my shipment is FOB. And what it means is that because it's FOB, they will pay me when the good is on the ship. But what FOB means is entirely different from that. Incoterm is an international commercial term that separates transaction cost and risk between buyer and seller in an international trade transaction. Incoterm is an international commercial term. The word Incoterms, international commercial terms. International commercial term. That's the acronym that forms Incoterms. International commercial term that separate transaction cost and risk between buyer and seller in international trade transaction. What that means is that if I'm shipping to Ghana, I'm going to move from Nigeria to Ghana. Let's say I'm moving from Nigeria, I'm moving from port of loading Nigeria, port of destination somewhere in Ghana. Let's say I'm going to Accra in Ghana, or I'm trying to remember the name of the port in Ghana now, or I'm going to Abidjan, or I'm going to Porto Novo in Togo. What happened is, I'm going to Benin. My risk ends, the Incoterm define where my risk and cost end. So currently we are doing a shipment to UK, and we are shipping a container load of products to UK, and we are doing CFR. Incoterm CFR means that my risk ends when the good is on board the vessel in Nigeria, but my cost ends when the good arrive at destination. So even though my risk ends in Nigeria, I'm bearing the cost of shipment to destination. So Incoterms separate transaction cost and risk between buyer and seller in international trade transaction. That means as a seller, I know my risk end there, that means yours start there. I know my cost end there, that means your cost start there. That means you know the cost you will incur, I know the cost I will incur, you know the risk you incur. When you know the risk you incur, you know if you are doing insurance, you know where your insurance starts from. If I'm doing cost, if you are bearing the cost, you know where your costs are from. That means you can easily calculate what your costs are. That means you can know how you can arrive at your profit. So basically, Incoterm helped me in terms of logistics to know what is the cost of moving this destination to me. What is the cost of moving destination to you? That way we can both be able to do a calculation that helps us to negotiate appropriately, such that at the end of the day, we know who is bearing the cost, we know who is doing documentation for shipment, we know who is doing the insurance, we know who is doing everything that has to do with moving the good from point A to point B, from loading to destination. We know who is bearing the cost and risk of the goods, and we will provide the requisite documentation at every point in time. That means even if anything happens in transit, for example, shipping from Nigeria to China, the vessel capsized in Indian Ocean. Who has lost money? Incoterm tells us who has lost money. Incoterm let us know that buyer is one that lost money, whoever is carrying risk at that time. Whoever is carrying risk is the one that has insurable interest in the goods, is the one to do the insurance. Because they are carrying risk, means you are the one carrying the risk. Let me give you an example. In import in Nigeria, Nigeria insists that if I'm importing, I must do CFR. CFR means that the exporter from China is the one that will bear the cost of shipment to Nigeria, but its risk ends when the good is on board the vessel in Shanghai in China. That means Nigerian importer is the one bearing the risk of the good from China to Nigeria. That means the Nigerian importer is the one to do insurance. So Nigerian import regulation says if I'm importing, I must do insurance, and I must do that insurance in Nigeria. So one of the documents required for me to declare my intention to import in Nigeria, alongside with the application come forth from M, is an insurance. An insurance must be done locally with an insurance company locally.
Okay. And I wanted to ask, what role does insurance play?
Yes. So now, Incoterm will tell us who is bearing the risk. Whoever is bearing the risk is expected to be the one to pay for insurance. Expected. Now, In some Incoterms, like CIF, even though importer is the one bearing the risk, the Incoterm says exporter is to pay the insurance. Who is bearing the risk? Importer. Who is paying the insurance? Exporter. So the exporter is insuring on behalf of the importer. That means the first loss payee of that insurance will be who? The importer. Because the importer is the one that can go and claim, is the one that have insurable interest. Even though the Incoterm says exporter is the one to pay. So exporter is paying for insurance, importer is the one claiming the insurance. That means on that insurance, the person that the insurance addressed to as the person who can claim will be the importer. And if the importer is taking a loan from the bank, it will be the importer's bank.
Okay. How can businesses build a reliable network of international partners and suppliers?
International partners and suppliers. Now, first of all, the beauty, I always think of how international trade was done, how effective it was before internet. Because quite frankly, internet has solved so much problem, such that, and then I begin to ask that, before internet got to where it is today, I'm imagining how much and how long it takes to consummate a trade transaction because of, you have to sign the paper, you might have to send the courier. That means I will sign courier to you, sign and send my copy back to you. Do you understand? The negotiation back and forth. Unless both of us have phone to be able to call, maybe we have to use physical mail. I mean, the time it takes to consummate to even get to the point of signing an agreement. But answering your question, with technology, there is a solution to that already, using the internet. So for example, I can join a network of traders of a particular product online. I can join them on Facebook, I can join them on LinkedIn, I can join them on different B2B platforms. I can attend international trade fair and get, in fact, the most effective way of building networks to go for international trade fair. If I meet someone online, there's still challenge of scarcity. Is he real? Is he not real? Is he a Yahoo boy? Is he a scammer? But if I meet you at a trade fair, we exchange cards, we discuss, you see me, I see you, the risk of thinking of a scammer is off the window, because now I've met you and maybe I'm in your country, I went to your factory, I know where you are. So that physical meeting created by a trade fair, international trade fair, has significantly reduced to a very, very large extent the chance of the risk that I perceive as a buyer or seller in doing business with you. So one of the ways is either I join online network, or I visit the country physically, or I join B2B platforms where I'll be able to meet individuals, or professional organizations where I meet individuals who have similar interests as I have as far as that particular area of business is concerned.
Okay, so how can businesses effectively track and manage shipments across different countries?
You know the way you track a courier?
Yes.
You can do the same for airline shipment and sea shipment. So if I'm shipping by air, if I'm shipping by courier, I will have courier number. If I'm shipping by air, I will have airway number. If I'm shipping by sea, I will have bill of lading number. All of them can be used to track the good in transit. And this is a very important question, because if I'm a banker and I'm funding your transaction, and let's say I'm doing a post-export financing, that means you have shipped, you brought the document to me and say, I've shipped. I will need you to finance me and give me the money, maybe 85% or 80% of the money ahead of when payment is due. Now, what you have asked me is to finance. I need to know, is that good? Has the good been shipped? By collecting that document, I can go and track it and see. So if I'm tracking and I notice your container is in, you shipped last week from Nigeria to China, but when I try, your container is in South America, it's in Brazil, that's a sign that you're a fraudster. That means the document you're giving me is fraudulent, because the container on the document, if the good left this week and it's going to China, it should be somewhere around the Indian Ocean, close to Durban, South Africa. But now I'm seeing that the container of your shipment is somewhere in Brazil or somewhere in Europe. Then something is wrong, because that means that the container in question, you didn't ship on that container. So I can track the vessel, I can track the shipment, I can track the container to know where exactly that container is anywhere in the world. So there are that technology exists and platform doing that already exists. Either I'm shipping by road, I'm shipping by rail, I'm shipping by air, I'm shipping by sea, I'm shipping by courier. Now for road and rail, that is not common yet, but probably in Europe for some large logistic company, they might be able to have that. But for now, I'm not sure of that, if it's existent in West Africa or in Africa.
But there are no ways to track by road.
You call the owner of the truck.
So
you call the owner of the truck. No. Now, if it's an haulage firm who ply the road regularly, the owner of the truck know how to get them, because they will definitely have a number that they know. Maybe roam the number on the road, and some truck can have tracker.
Okay.
So you can put tracker on it, and in the office, the logistic company can say, okay, it's already kind of, because you can see the way it's moving. So a tracker on it can help, and so I'm sure it can be tracked. Only that now you won't be able to do it yourself. You might have to rely on logistic company to track and be able to know where the truck is.
Okay, sir. So what are the key different? You already mentioned things around different
Types of what?
Moving goods.
Okay.
But I want to ask this.
Okay.
What are the key differences between shipping by air, sea, and land, and how should businesses choose the right method?
Interesting question. What are the key differences? Of course. Now it now depends on if I'm doing a bulky shipment that is not of high value. What I mean is not a very expensive product and it's bulky. Sea is better, most efficient. If I'm shipping an item that is expensive and time bound or is perishable, I'm better off by air. If I'm shipping to a country that is landlocked, I'm better by road or by rail.
And you don't have like a functioning rail system.
Then road will be the road. I mean, road will be the only option available. Or I will ship by air into that country and ship by road to the destination. Some people do that. Now, this is where working with a good freight forwarder comes. Freight forwarder have a station around the world, and if you are working with a very good freight forwarder, they have a way of connecting themselves, such that if I start from Nigeria, they already book the truck that will take it from the next one to the next one, or the truck just moves straight to the destination. So the volume you are shipping, the value, the timeliness or perishability of the goods, the speed of delivery you desire, and the nature of the product. Because if I'm shipping a perishable, I can actually ship, if I'm shipping a perishable and it's large volume, I can actually ship by sea. It will take time, but it's not time bound. Now, anything you are shipping that is time bound, definitely must go by air. If it's time bound.
What if it's really large?
Some people do it. Look, if it's time bound and it's important it gets there at that time, whoever wants it at that time must be ready to pay for it. It's just like exporting snail to the UK. If you want to eat snail in the UK, you must be ready to pay because it has to come by air. So there are some things that must go by air. Because people that buy attach a premium to it, they are also willing to pay. It's just like flour. Flour is leaving Kenya and East Africa every time going to Europe. And they go by air. Flour. Fresh flour. Rose flour. Okay. Rose flour.
They don't make
rose. No, there are better ones. There are better ones in Africa.
Oh wow, I never knew.
Going to Europe every day. In fact, between January and February, around that kind Valentine, plenty. And this guy make a lot of money. He has to go by air because it's perishable with flour. And people that want to give it to their boyfriend or girlfriend value it, so they are ready to pay very well for it.
This is actually interesting because I never knew that.
That ship flour. People ship flour from Nigeria also.
Wow.
Yes, only that the flour we ship, the quantity we ship fresh flour is very small compared to what East Africa is making billions of dollars every year exporting flour, fresh flour to Europe.
Okay. This question is on reducing shipping costs.
Okay.
Efficiency.
Okay. Now let me go back to the question you asked before about the question around around the different kind of. Sometimes air shipment can be deceptively cheap. And I use the word deceptively cheap. What I mean by that is this. So let's assume I need to ship 10 tons of an item. If I ship it by sea, this 10 tons of an item, if I ship it by sea, it will take me 3 months to consummate the transaction. If I ship by sea. If I ship it by air, I can ship 2 tons by air. And I can ship it every week. 2 tons I can ship it every week. If I ship 2 tons by air every week, if I ship it by sea, 10 tons, I can make a profit of about 30%. If I ship by air, by sea, 30%. If I ship by air, because of the cost of shipment, I'll make 10%. 2 tons, 10%. But I'll get it in a week. Now, if I and they'll pay me within, pay me cash against document, a sight of document. That means they'll pay almost immediately. So if I ship week 1, 2 tons, week 2, 2 tons, week 3, 2 tons, week 4, 2 tons, I've done 8 tons 1 week. In 3 months, sorry, in 1 month, in 3 months, I will do 24 tons. 24 tons. And I'm making how much? 10%. That means I will have shipped times 2 of what is going by sea in 2 months or in 3 months, and I will make, and each time I ship, I'm making 10%, 10%, 10%. I will make 20%, 30%, 40%. In fact, I will have made 40% in 1 month. Although I will have shipped 4 times, that means I will meet more demand in the market. But I will make 40%. That means the idea is this. Within a particular period, if I look at it, I will make in 3 months, I will make 120%. I will have done 12 shipments. That means I will satisfy more demand in the market. I'm making little profit per shipment, but in the long run, I do more turnover, I make more shipment. Do you understand? So that's why I said it's deceptively cheap. What I said that to answer your question about managing cost. So if it's such that your shipment is such that you can do it regularly, there is a lot of demand, and you will still make profit if you ship by air. Maybe you should ship by air, because if the airline know you are going to be shipping regularly by air, they can also give you a good discount. And then you are shipping large volume, they can give a good discount. Now, to reduce the cost of shipping by sea, something happened to me recently. We normally will do a shipment to UK, and we will pay about 1,600 euro. 1,600 euro. But we've done it consistently for some years. At least, let's say we've done it consistently in the last 2 years. So we now approach the shipping line and say, look, you need to give us a better rate. Now, why are you giving us this rate? Because we have been consistent and we hope to become consistent. Do you know we cut off more than half of the price? Because of consistency of shipment and the fact that we went to negotiate. Because even if we are consistent and we didn't go to negotiate, we will not get it. So it's important that exporters know that I can negotiate the price, but I need to demonstrate I will do more volume, number 1. Number 2, I will be consistent and I will use you alone. And sometimes my buyer, if my buyer is a large importer, he can negotiate for me. If my volume is small, but my buyer import from other country from the same shipping line, he can negotiate for me. But if my volume is large, I can negotiate myself. And they will give me a contract number that covers that negotiation and a timeline within which that contract expires. If I'm able to ship within that period, I can negotiate another one. So by negotiating the freight, and you can do this with the shipping line, it's not just a game of volume. With airline, with shipping line, even by road, I can do this. So it's good you understand. And then you can also negotiate demurrage free period upon arrival, particularly for sea. Demurrage is the fee paid for the usage of container beyond the free period while the container is in custody of shipping line. So I can negotiate the demurrage free period. I can tell them that, look, I need you to give me 14 days demurrage free. That means if my good arrive and there is a delay, I will not pay demurrage for 14 days, within which I will have cleared. And even though there is a delay, I will clear without paying any extra. And they will do this for you as long as you are a regular customer and you ship with them.
Okay, thank you so much for joining to this episode of the show. We do hope that you've taken out 1 or 2 answers to your questions. And we look forward to having you on our subsequent episodes of the Trade Talk podcast.
And like I said also at the last program, we've discussed a lot today about supply chain management in import-export business. And I'm definitely, people who have one or two questions, don't forget to drop the question right there in the comment section and we'll definitely get back to you.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.